Shannon, was this spending spree by the Patriots desperate or calculated?
I believe it was calculated. And I love Mr. Kraft, Skip. And he said he had to come up with that kind of capital. And for the people at home, when a team guarantees contract, they have to put that money in escrow. So when he said he had to come up with that capital, Skip, he had to come up with $175 million and put that in escrow. You guarantee $200 million, you got to have that money in escrow. So Mr. Kraft, like, man, they had me spread, hey, I got a lot of money, but, I ain't got $175 million under my pillow.
Yep.
Skip, it was calculated. The thing that what I took from this free agency spending spree that Coach Belichick went on, he admitted he made mistakes. Those 2 third-round tight ends, Skip, I made a mistake. That wide receiver that we took 2 years ago in the first round, I made a mistake. See, the difference is between Coach Belichick and everybody else, Skip. When you make a mistake like that, you got to ride it out, because if you don't, the owner's going to fire your ass. He's safe. So he made a mistake with 2 third-rounders. One, he traded up, Skip, and guess what he did? A year after taking those guys in the third round, he goes in free agency and spends what? $75, $80 million on tight ends. Mm-hmm. He take a wide receiver with the first pick, his first round pick, and what does he do? He goes spend another $40, $50, $60 million in wide receivers. So I made a mistake. And Mr. Kraft says, okay, I'm going to cover for you this time. Most of the time, Skip, you got to let this thing play out. You're not getting rid of no guy after no what? Now, unless it's a situation like Tennessee, that offensive lineman, first round pick, got traded for a 7th, and now he's out of the league. But no, it takes an extenuating circumstance for something like that. Skip, we don't normally see this. No. We don't normally see a guy go spend this kind of money after just taking that position. You took 2 tight ends, and you replace them a year later with 2 free agent tight ends. You take a wide receiver. So he said, I goofed it. I made a mistake, but I'm going to correct this mistake. And Mr. Kraft said, hey, and this is what I love what he said. He says, I'm not in business just to be in business. How many, Skip? Because you know with this new TV deal, Skip, every owner starting in 2022 going to get $300 million from the TV contract. Yep. That's before a ticket. That's before concession. That's before paraphernalia. That's before parking. That's before local advertising is sold. They're getting $300 million. Mr. Kraft said, I ain't in the business just to get them $300 million check. I'm trying to win Lombardis, and I trust that guy that's going to get me another Lombardi trophy. Coach Belichick, I hate to say it, but he impressed this girl. Tom seen what he did. Tom was like, that's okay. I'm still happy down here where I am. We said, hey, if you'd have just waited, this is what I would have been willing to do for you. I'd have gave you a nice ring. I'd have gave you a nice car. Tom said, nah, I'm good over here where I'm at right now. But Skip, it was calculated. This is what you have to do. And I know, Skip, your Pro Football Focus said they overpaid for this one, they overpaid for that one. But it's just like the Adoree Jackson, Skip. I don't know who else the hell I'm bidding it against. Hey, I'm bidding in the dark. I'm trying to get a number. What number can I get to that says, okay, you're going to be willing to be a New England Patriot? Well, it took $13 million for Aguilar. It took whatever for Kendrick Bourne. And that's what you have to do, Skip. That's what free agency is. That's why guys want to get the free agent, Skip. That's why they hate the tag, because the tag is a set number, $15 million. Well, if I get out there and I get a couple of teams bidding, just think about it. What's the guy's name, Skip? Chris Godwin. He got what, 14 million? What's the tag, 14 million?
14.5, yep.
Kenny Golladay got 17.5.
Okay.
That's what he said. He said, I want to test the market. So when you test the market, you have to pay. But I think it was very calculated what he did. He admitted, I made mistakes. Now let me cover up those mistakes by going and doing it this way.
By the way, just a year ago, Amari Cooper got $21 million, but don't get me started.
Well, that was Jerry Big Spit. That was Jerry Big Piece of Pie.
Back to Robert Kraft. I have just one response from Mr. Kraft. Welcome to life without Tom Brady. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. I don't care how you want to spin this. Tom Brady left this organization in a shambles. Mm-hmm. They are flailing. They are desperate. Tom Brady made Mr. Kraft look like the greatest owner in the history of sports. And there's a lot of quality and there's a lot to respect in that man. No doubt about that. But he got a lot of credit for just
staying out of the way.
just standing in the background and being there when necessary, but just staying out of the way, as you point out. And Bill Belichick got a lot of credit for being a genius head coach when I'll give you genius defensive coordinator, or at least an all-time great one. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to team building, this looks all-time desperate to me. Mm-hmm. This looks like splashing cash the way nobody did in this whole free agency period. The biggest shock of free agency is what a slow rollout it's been, because I thought everybody would splash cash on day one. I know the cap has fallen.
Right.
I know money can be tight, but there were 6 teams that had big money. And again, Robert Kraft said we had the third most money. Mm-hmm. Well, they spent the first most by far.
And they still got some money.
By far, though. Okay, they still got some money. I got it. But this was that they came out of the blocks and just threw money every direction. And it felt willy-nilly to me because Robert Kraft woke up last year and said, wait a second, we're about to go 7-9. How can that be? Because all he's ever known, for the most part, is
playoffs and Super Bowl.
Tom, terrific, man. Tom will figure it out.
Right.
Tom will overcome. Tom will win in spite of. And he just did again and again and again. It didn't matter how many poor moves, how many suspect moves Bill Belichick made as the team builder, as the GM of the Patriots. Brady always canceled it out because Brady would rise above. Mm-hmm. That's just what he does.
Right.
And now everybody, all the sites I respect, the analysts I respect, they're all saying, let's start with Nelson Aguilar. Just way overpaid for a guy who had a blip of a year last year in Las Vegas.
But Skip, that's all that matters in free agency. And see, that's what you have to be careful of. Is this a guy that's trending in that direction, or was just because he was in a contract year? Skip, you know teams, and I've had discussion with teams, and it says he never played like this before. Was it just because he's in a contract year, or is this something that he can continue?
Yep.
Skip, that's what you don't know. You don't. But Skip, here's the thing. Well, you're right. When you have Tom Brady, there's some moves that you can make that Tom Brady can overcome. Now that you don't have Tom Brady, we don't have that luxury of being able to overcome. So we need to make sure we're talented enough at those positions, because I'm not so sure that we have a quarterback that can overcome the mistakes that I've made in the past.
Yep.
So you have to do that, Skip.
Okay, then we go to the tight ends.
They call you
Jonnu
out.
Smith. I like Hunter Henry a lot.
I do too.
But still, both of them have not made a single Pro Bowl. Mm-hmm. And I know Patriot Nation was, we got Jonnu, we got Hunter Henry. It's because you got nothing else.
Nothing. They was really the bottom of the barrel.
And if you really think you have Gronk and Aaron Hernandez, you are sadly mistaken. I'm sorry. And you had to overpay because you went first.
Right.
You didn't wait out the market at all because you felt like you couldn't, because you were desperate to improve as quickly as you could to keep up with Tom Brady. I don't care what anybody says. In the backs of their minds, they're saying he just won the Super Bowl.
But Skip, here's the thing is, I go into free agency, and I got my board up. Here's the position that we want. We want A, B, C, D. Skip, if A is up there, Skip, I can't wait the market out and let somebody snatch what I need. So by the process of me waiting, in the time that I'm waiting, somebody else snatched Hunter Henry. Somebody else snatched Jonnu Smith. Skip, then now I'm stuck with the third-round guys that I know they can't play. That's why I want these guys.
And the prize of their haul, to me, was Matthew Judon. And again, he's a guy who leaps off my screen. But Pro Football Focus ripped this move and said much of his production came courtesy of Baltimore's extraordinarily high blitz rate.
Right.
Still a concern due to Judon's unproven ability to win one-on-one battles. If that's true, then you way overpaid for him. He won't change your life.
Right.
Unless you blitz the way Baltimore did, and they don't usually blitz that way.
Well, they did. They did when you Skip, Coach Belichick, the year they won the Super Bowl, they were a heavy pressure team. When they got off to that great start where everybody talking about that's a historic defense, they were blitzing. Now, I'm hearing now that they're not actively shopping Stephon Gilmore, but Stephon Gilmore's like, I want to get paid.
Yeah.
I see all these guys making all this money. Dory Jackson makes as much money as I do, and he can't even see me. So y'all need to do something about my pay.
Okay.
But Skip, when you in this situation, when you get accustomed to winning, losing hurts people. Like Cincinnati lost so much, Skip, they numb to it. And they lose. They go 3-13. They go 2-14. Man, ain't nobody jumping off no bridge. Skip, they went 7-9.
Yeah.
You talking about a team that win the 9 Super Bowls in 20 years. You go 7-9.
Yep.
The last time there was 8, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Skip, 2002, they were 8-8. So that's the worst. In 19 years, the worst record they've had was 8-8 prior to last year.
Yeah.
That's cause for concern. That's cause
I got it. The old cliche is, welcome to the life that the other half lives.
Yes.
But this isn't the other half. This is the other 31,
yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay. And what has to be killing them the worst is that Tom Brady's cap hit going in next year is less than the 3 quarterbacks on their roster right now combined.
Right.
Because Brady's just taking less and less. It's almost laughable how little money Brady is taking just to ensure that they get the band back together. And we still have some X factors out there: Antonio Brown, Fournette, Sue. And I don't know what's going to happen, but if they get 2 out of those 3 back, then the band to me is officially back together.
Right. The question is, Skip, I mean, what are you going to accept? Because Antonio Brown is not going to get the payday from the Tampa that he thinks. I understand you was on your best behavior, but bruh, it's going to take more than 8 games of good behavior for a team to trust you that this is a new rehabilitated AB.
Okay. Do you want to win a second ring?
No, he want money.
Okay. Do you want to stay in Florida with no state tax?
No, he can come back. He got a home in Florida. He can come back to visit that.
Okay.
AB wants money, Skip. You got to realize, Skip, if he had got that $30 million that he was guaranteed, and this was the situation, okay. But he didn't get that. So the $30 million that he should have got, he's never going to recoup that. How do you recoup that, Skip?
Okay, my final thought on Robert Kraft is that he said in this interview with Peter King that Tom Brady chose to go elsewhere. I beg to differ. I'm sorry, Mr. Kraft, but it was 3 long years of Belichick slowly but surely pushing him out the back door till he finally threw up his hands and said, I got to go.
All you had to do was extend him. When they gave him that $8 million bonus, remember, Skip, they gave him that $8 million bonus, and I think it got his salary to $23 million. Instead of just giving him $8 million, why not extend him another 2 years? If you want someone to stay, that's what you do. That you show him Tom, we want you here. We want you to play. Okay, we'll do another 2 years. Because that's basically what he did in Tampa, Skip.
Yep.
So they could have gave him another 2 years. So we'll give you 3 years. We'll avoid the 3rd year. We won't, we can't be franchised. And you could have had Tom Brady if you really wanted him. But once he saw that you keep every year, I get closer and closer to the exit. You keep moving my chair closer and closer to the door.
That is correct.
You're trying to tell me you want me to get the hell up out of here.
Yep.
At some point in time, you know what, Skip? You ain't got to shove me anymore. I'm leaving.
Okay.
You ain't got to push me. I'm just going to walk up out the door.
And in the end, even though Kraft in 2017 chose Brady over Belichick,
He did.
in the end, he chose his coach and general manager over Tom Brady.
Yeah.
And you got to live with that.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.